Hey everybody, this is Matt from End Sickness. Today I'm going to talk about the mold illness recovery protocol. This is what I designed myself after overcoming mold illness myself with my daughter, with plenty of clients. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is based on my personal experiences for informational and educational purposes only. So the mold illness recovery protocol. Now, what do you have to do to get over mold illness? Okay, well, the first thing is identify if it's really mold illness or not. And the first step to doing that is either through a urine test, which is not definitive, or even better, a mycotoxin antibody test, okay? A mycotoxin antibody test will show you if you're having antibody reactions, immune reactions to these mycotoxins. There is only one company that provides this test. It's called mymycolab.com. If you are having low urine test levels but still showing signs of mold illness, it could be that you have developed antibodies to these mycotoxins, like my daughter did, like plenty of my clients have, and that you've become ultra sensitized to the mycotoxins themselves. So you have to be able to define, is this really happening? So if you got a positive answer, yes, I do have high levels of mycotoxins in my urine, and I'm living in a house where my antibody levels are high. Well, if your antibody levels are super high, the first step to getting out of mold illness is to get out of that house, right? Because if you're having a reaction every time you inhale, then unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many binders you take, how many pills you take, you're still gonna have some plateau you hit along the way. Now, if you can't leave that house, then we have to do everything else that's next in this video and be able to try to stabilize the immune system. So let's just say theoretically you leave the house. Okay, the next step after leaving the house would be to start to try to clean up the mess internally, because mold does a lot of damage to you. And you want to be able to first focus on the diet, okay? The diet, because the diet's going to be what stabilizes the immune system. It helps to get rid of these toxins out of your body, helps to feed the good bacteria in your gut, helps to get your body stabilized. It's the foundation to your success. So your diet, you have to understand when you have mold illness, you can't eat high protein diet. Mold illness will disrupt your ability to break down animal products, fats, proteins, things that are hard to break down. And if you do, you will impair your detox system even more. You keep on eating meat and it's not broken down, guess what it'll do? It'll cause your liver to back up. It'll cause your gallstones to form. It'll cause your kidneys to back up. And then you'll have this backup of toxins. And guess what? That's what you don't want if you're trying to get rid of mycotoxins. You want to be able to take the stress off your liver, take the stress off your kidneys, etc. So how do you do that? You go to a low protein, higher fiber, moderate carbohydrate diet. So low protein, low to moderate fat. If you're going to eat fat, mostly plant-based oils. And then you go to a moderate carbohydrate. So you're eating fruit, you're eating potatoes, you're eating rice, you're eating beans if you tolerate them, etc. You transition to that diet over the course of a few weeks to a month. Once you get into that diet, you'll realize, hey, I'm going to the bathroom more often. I don't feel as much swelling. I'm sleeping better. You know, my bowel movements are more full and more productive, etc. So now your detox system is working. Now your lymph is working. Now your liver is not overwhelmed. Now your kidneys aren't overwhelmed. The next step after that, is going ahead and getting on binders. Binders will be really helpful to get rid of some of those excess residues and toxins that shouldn't be in there. First, my favorite binder is Takesumi Supreme, okay, Takesumi. That's a carbonized bamboo that helps to bind to mycotoxins, and it binds to a broad array of mycotoxins. The next one would be Metaclay FX. That is a bentonite clay product that has a broad array of binding capacities. It's been cleaned of all the contaminants, heavy metals, tested, irradiated, etc. The third one would be apple pectin. Apple pectin is a great binder. It just goes in and it gels up to whatever's in your stomach. So if you got stuff in your stomach that needs to get out of there, you have toxins in there, you have toxins in your liver, your gallbladder, this will help to bind to some of those toxins in your bile, in your gut, etc. And then the next one would be zeolite, okay? This is micronized zeolite. This is personally, well, let me say the apple pectin I got from bulkfoods.com in powder, okay? Zeolite, micronized zeolite. This is one that can help to get rid of other toxins, trichothecenes, ochratoxins, things like that. I personally use a zeolite liquid that I got from Avini Health, A-V-I-N-I Health, okay? And that was the best one I found. The powders out there are really hard on the stomach. They're hard on the body. You got to get a liquid that's been cleaned, once again, of contaminants, because zeolite often has heavy metals in it, contaminants in it, because it's taken from a natural environment. So after you focus on all those, guess what you got to do next? You got to try to find some colostrum or some beta-glucans, okay? If you can't get raw colostrum, you need to be able to get beta-glucans, okay? There are plenty of products out there, but get a beta-glucan from algae, okay? And look at 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams every other day. If you can get raw colostrum from a farmer, do that, up to 8 ounces every other day. This would be what you would want to do to start stimulating the immune system. The binders help to bind to the toxins. This helps to stimulate the immune function to get your immune system back to normal. So it's starting to fight off pathogens, get rid of things that shouldn't be in there, get rid of mycotoxins, etc. So after you've started those, okay, And you can reach out to me about doses, etc. You don't want to take any of these every day. They're all in a rotation. They all are in a rotation. The only thing you want to take 5 days a week is the apopectin. Otherwise, everything is every other day. And it's usually about 3 or 4 capsules every other day, empty stomach, okay? Once you do that for a couple months, you see how much progress you've made just from the supplements, just from the diet, okay? And once you get to that point where, hey, I'm feeling pretty decent, I'm still kind of tired, still not digesting things perfect, but hey, I'm feeling better. I'm out of the mold. I'm not reacting as much and I'm feeling better. At that point, you need to restore the good bacteria in your gut with prebiotics like Acacia Senegal, more the apopectin, the arabinogalactin, the other prebiotics that are beneficial like your inulin, your FOS, etc. Those are really critical to be able to get that gut bacteria back to normal. Once you do that for a month or two, then the next step is simply focusing on restoring key minerals, key nutrients, because they are absolutely critical to get your detox enzymes functioning, get your regular enzymes functioning, to get your cellular health back to normal. So the key minerals you have to replace are going to be magnesium, a plant-based magnesium called Aquamin. Okay, there's one from Nature's Answer called marine-based magnesium. It's from Nature's Answer, like I said, that's a great one. Triquetra Health has a zinc product. This is also critical because you get robbed of your zinc during this mold illness. And they have a zinc product from guava leaves, okay, that is from Triquetra Health. Another one from Triquetra Health is the fulvic minerals, the humic minerals. This is trace minerals you need to get your enzyme production back to normal, get your detox system functioning properly, get your immune system back to normal, be able to resist these heavy metals, these toxins. And those are the 3 main ones. The other one I would mention is selenium. That's also available at Triquetra Health, and that is derived from garlic, and it actually would be great for increasing your detoxification capabilities, your glutathione levels, etc., binding to different toxins, getting the immune system functioning properly. So those are the key nutrients, okay, key nutrients. Now, the last part I want to mention is you have to restructure your limbic system, retrain your limbic system. You could do this through slow, deep breathing. You could do this through brain retraining. You could do this through examining your emotions on a daily basis and starting to break down the walls and the stories behind them. This is what I do with clients. But you can't recover from mold illness unless you go ahead and do something to restructure your limbic system or retrain your brain. Because when you're in mold illness, you're chronically inflamed. Your neurologic system is chronically inflamed. So you have these ongoing thoughts, these thought loops, these hyperfixations on things that you can't let go of. And you have to be able to retrain your brain to start thinking differently, consciously attempting to do this, because otherwise you'll just stay in the same thought patterns you're in when you're living in the mold, when you're still in the middle of the mold illness, and you will reproduce this illness or symptoms in some manner because you're not changing your thinking. So to be able to heal, you always got to focus on what you're consuming, what you're inhaling, and what you're thinking. These are the three main things to getting better: consuming, inhaling, thinking. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I got a much more detailed version of this on my website, written down step by step. My website is endsickness.org. I got hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal yourself out here in nature. Thanks for watching, everybody. I went through this myself. I had 22 years of experience, whether it was through my personal healing, overcoming it with my daughter, helping plenty of others over the last several years. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.